Good morning, everybody. Can you hear me okay? Good morning. There we go. I can hear it. Okay. Welcome. Good morning, and welcome to our NYMTC annual meeting. My name is Ron Epstein, and I will be serving today as the secretary to the council as well as the acting co-chair. I would like to take this moment by asking our principals and our members here at the DS to introduce themselves, let us know who you're representing. So let me start with our regional EPA administrator.
I'm John Filippelli with EPA Region 2, representing Regional Administrator Peter Lopez.
Hi, I'm Rick Marquis. I'm the Federal Highway Division Administrator here in New York. I cover the New York State. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Steve Goodman. I'm the Regional Administrator for the FTA. I cover the New York and New Jersey area.
Good morning. My name is Darnell Tyson. I am the Acting Commissioner at Suffolk County DPW, and I am representing Suffolk County Executive Steve Ballone.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Laura Curran, and I'm the Nassau County Executive.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm Larry Lennon. I'm Acting Director of MTA Planning, and I'm here representing Pat Foy, Chairman of the MTA.
Hello, Marisa Lago. I am the Director of the New York City Department of City Planning and the Chair of the City's Planning Commission.
Polly Trottenberg, Commissioner, New York City Department of Transportation, and the current rotating co-chair here of NYMTC.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm Mary Ellen O'Dell, representing the people of Putnam County as their county executive.
George Latimer, Westchester County Executive.
Doug Schutz, Acting Commissioner, Departments of Planning and Public Transportation for Rockland County, representing County Executive Ed Day.
Duncan Kissier, Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, representing Executive Director Rick Cotton.
Good morning. I'm Mary Amin, the Executive Director of the North Jersey Transportation Planning Authority, non-voting member.
Good morning, everyone. Jeremy Colangelo, New Jersey Transit, representing President and CEO Kevin Corbett.
And with that, I'm pleased to announce that we do have a quorum for the members that are present today. I'd like to start off with a few brief remarks. First of all, it is an honor to be here today with all of you, folks here at the table, folks out in the audience. The hard work and collaboration that goes into developing the work products of this council really help change the lives of the individuals that we have chosen to serve. Basically, as we discussed a little bit earlier, we are in the business of managing mobility and ensuring that people can get to where they need to go when they need to go. So I think we should all be very proud of what's being accomplished in this council and what we'll be acting on today. I can tell you that this council has positioned itself very well with respect to not only the emerging infrastructure needs. I mean, certainly we are among some of the oldest states in the nation, and we have some of the oldest infrastructure, and our weather actually plays tricks on us that other states don't experience. So we have a lot of challenges, but the opportunities that those challenges present are really unconstrained. One of the challenges that we've had in this region is basically greenhouse gas emissions, and I'm very proud to work for an administration that has enacted a number of climate initiatives that will help not only protect the citizens of the state, but continue to ensure the mobility that we need to grow our regional economy. The Climate Protection Act, I think, is something that we'll be focusing on at the state level, working with everybody here in the council to ensure that we recognize not only the continued emphasis on bicycle and pedestrian access, but also the expansion of mobility on demand services and last mile services. I would also say that one of the opportunities that we have with our transportation system too is to look at emerging technologies in terms of propulsion, and as we all move forward trying to reduce our carbon footprint on this region. So I think many of the activities that we are undertaking as part of the adoption of today's resolutions positions this region well and in many respects makes us a leader in the nation. And with that, I do want to applaud each and every one of you for your contributions in making that happen. Commissioner Trottenberg?
Thanks, Ron. And it is very nice to be here with our colleagues throughout the region. We don't all get to spend enough time together. And thanks everyone who came today. It is an exciting day. We're going to be putting together, obviously, adopting the region's 20 to 24 TIP. And, we know how vital that is in terms of our partnership with, local jurisdictions, the state, and our federal partners. And just to echo what Ron has said, I think a big focus now for the city in terms always, of course, of safety on our streets is adapting to climate change. I'm here with my partner who chairs the City Planning Commission. It is a big focus of hers now. And something else I think we're gearing up for at the city and state level, which is congestion pricing, which will be coming probably sometime in 2021, and I think has an opportunity to put investment into our transit system, make our city streets safer, free up space to do, better mass transit, better things on our roadway. So a big, exciting project that I know everyone at this table will be involved in. And so thanks, Ron. Looking forward to today's meeting.
Thank you. And just so that we can actually put some context to what it is that the council does, the participants contribute to, and why we're making these regional investments, what I'd like to do is spend a few minutes asking each of the council members to talk about a project or two in their municipality and how it is fulfilling the goals of enhancing and growing this region, not only in terms of providing economic security, but also in terms of moving forward with quality of life. So I don't know if we want to start, Commissioner, with you or not.
Well, I'm going to talk for 1 second, and I think I'll see also if my colleague, we're working on a big resiliency project that I think she would probably want to talk to. As always for us, we have a balance in New York City level of maintaining our basic infrastructure. We have 6,000 miles of roadway, approximately 800 bridges. Our biggest infrastructure project for sure in the coming years is going to be fixing a large portion of the BQE. Something we've been very focused on and we'll be working with our state and federal partners on. And it's going to be, I think, one of the most challenging projects in the United States. I think my federal colleagues would probably concede that point. And one that will have big effects, I think, on the regional economy and mobility, and we want to make sure we get it right. And I don't know, Melissa, if you want to talk a bit about some of the resiliency things the city is doing.
Well, we currently have going through the land use review process our East Side Coastal Resiliency. And I'm particularly pleased that this major project to protect the east side of Manhattan actually focuses on a section of the city that is home to a very large number of low-income residents. It largely is protecting areas of NYCHA, the New York City Housing Authority. This involves not just transportation issues, but also enhanced sewer network. I thought also, since we frequently talk about technology and harnessing technology, that I would mention a number of ways in which we're using big data at the Department of City Planning to help us in our planning for neighborhoods and also to help us in the analysis of specific very large private sector developments. We were able to mine city bike data to look at point of origin, and then point of destination. Similarly, we looked at the information that is available from the Taxi and Limousine Commission and also from Uber. And using this information, it is giving us a far better sense of how people are traveling, not just where they're going to, but where they're originating from. And we have found this to be absolutely invaluable. And I guess it's appropriate, since we're sitting here in a group that cuts across line, to talk about the collaboration that we have between the city and the MTA. And this is with respect to, in particular, subway access. We're working with the MTA in advance to see if we can adopt a citywide requirement to require an easement within development that is adjacent to current and future subway stations. And we recognize that providing the easement comes with a cost, that you're giving up space, and seeing how we can make the zoning more flexible so that the owner will be more incented to provide the easement. A second way that we are working so collaboratively with the MTA is on ADA access. We know that the MTA has its program to provide accessibility, but when we have large developments, particularly in our central business districts in Manhattan, there is frequently, maybe frequently might be an overstatement, occasionally the possibility of providing a zoning bonus in return for making a station ADA accessible. Very close to here on Broad Street, we recently approved a large tower, and as part of the zoning bonus, the J and the Z station on Broad Street, which is the terminus of the line, will be made ADA accessible at no cost to the MTA. And that is significant because, one, the terminus of the line, and second, the fact that the location at 85 Broad Street is in the middle of an area that is so rich with jobs.
Thank you. I'm going to yield my time to when I introduce Reso 2019-5, when I'll be asking Mayor Mark Boughton of the City of Danbury to join us for comment.
Thanks. Well, in Westchester County, we see our interconnectedness with the city and the counties and the states that surround us. We're a large county, but we're not an island, and we recognize that the ability of Westchester residents who work in New York City, in Manhattan and elsewhere, which I myself have done, requires us to be supportive of the initiatives of the city to improve the subway system here, and for our purposes, Metro North, although it applies to NJ Transit and LIRR as well. And we also see the interstate connections between us and Connecticut and New Jersey. We have Amtrak stops, 3 different stops in Westchester County that connect travelers from Westchester to places from Boston to D.C. and elsewhere. So the improvement of the overall region matters to Westchester, not just what's important to us. In our backyard, we see the correlation not just in transportation issues alone or divorced from other issues, but a combination of affordable housing issues, economic development, job growth issues, transportation, and environmental issues as all connected. If we don't work through all 4 of those policy areas, then we won't accomplish what we need to do in order to be vibrant and have the job growth and the improvements necessary. In practical terms, we're very happy that we partnered with the Bronx to lobby for access from the east side of Westchester County into Penn Station. And when the East Side Access Program is done and my friends on Long Island have a way to get to the east side of Manhattan, then those of us along the New Haven line are going to have a way to get to the access to the west side of Manhattan, and that's going to be very important for some of our residents. We're also working alongside of Putnam County on seeing an improvement of the I-684 corridor. It's a very heavily trafficked corridor. People who live in the northern part of Westchester, Putnam, Connecticut, Dutchess, use that corridor to get to White Plains and other places. So that's an important cooperative project as we go forward. So again, I think it's important to understand that we each have our, those of us as elected officials, we have our responsibility to our home electorate and the people that put us here, but that we can't fulfill that goal unless we do it cooperatively with the rest of the people around this table.
Thank you, Ron. There we go. Thank you, Ron. First, I'm pleased to be here today to represent the County Executive Ed Day. I wanted to first thank NYMTC and TCC staff for their tireless efforts on our behalf, and also the FHWA, the FTA, and State DOT for providing vital and ongoing funding streams for many of the projects in Rockland County. We continue to partner with MTA Metro North to increase the level of service we receive for the investments we make to the region's transit system each year. We appreciate MTA Metro North's commitment to improve its service contract with New Jersey Transit and to find solutions that will bring relief to our beleaguered west of Hudson commuters. Rockland joins its NYMTC partners and other regional MPOs in advocating for federal funding for the Gateway project, which is a vital precursor for Rockland County and other west of Hudson communities to one day have a one-seat ride to Manhattan. We acknowledge the Port Authority for their tremendous recent efforts to improve the commuter experience at the George Washington Bus Terminal and for their anticipated work on the Port Authority Terminal. Both of these are important components of the daily commute for Rockland County commuters. Our bus replacement program for our fixed route and paratransit we continue to focus on improving operational efficiencies and the rider experience, while our preventive maintenance program, which utilizes TIP funding, ensures every effort to is made to protect our investments and keep them in a good state of repair. Also, at the local level, Rockland County will be conducting a review of its tour routes, which is our local fixed route service, with the objective to improve performance and efficiency and integration with other regional services. We continue to find ways to collaborate with our NYMTC partners, like our work with State DOT on the transit signal priority technologies for both TOR, which is, again, our fixed route service, and the Hudson Link buses within our major corridor, the Route 59 corridor. With the ongoing implementation of our ITS program for our local service, we will be able to offer automated vehicle location and automated passenger count technologies, real-time, next bus passenger information. We're in the process of implementing vital components of our ADA transition plan, which is working to ensure and improve access to our bus services for people with disabilities. State of good repair continues to be a priority, but not just for transit, but also our roadways and our bridges, and we continue to work on that effort. All these projects are vital to both improving and maintaining our transportation infrastructure and services to our future. Finally, we'd like to acknowledge Jose Rivera for all the work he did with certainly our team, and we wish him well in the future.
Well, I want to echo what many people have said. Sometimes when you're in your own patch of land, you get blinders and you forget that you are part of a very dynamic region and one that is really the major economic driver for the country. So it's refreshing to be here. Just to bring you up to date on some of the things we've got going on. You may have heard about our Nassau Coliseum and development around there called the Hub. It's right in the center of our county. And we've actually got some federal seed money for bus rapid transit options, so we're very much looking forward to that. The other big project we have is the Belmont Arena for the Islanders, which I'm a huge fan of, the Islanders and the arena. And we've been told, and we're very much looking forward to having the first new Long Island Railroad station in about 70 years to service that arena. So that's a very, very big deal for us. And we hope it will really calm the traffic concerns of the surrounding community with a public transportation option. We are embarking on a study to streamline and accelerate mobility options, you know, those first mile, last mile options, micro-transit, flexi buses, that sort of thing, to help support what we're pushing, which is transit-oriented development and walkable downtown. So that's with help from NYMTC and with some federal money to do that study. So we're very grateful to the help that we're getting from NYMTC on that. You know, we're talking today about going green with transportation. So we're looking to convert some of our buses, which are compressed natural gas, to hybrid and/or electric options, and also looking for alternate fuel stations that we can put throughout the county. So that's basically what we're up to. So this is sort of the big, interesting stuff, but you can't forget the infrastructure. We are an aging area, and we need money. We need federal money to make sure that we can pave the roads, that our bridges are in good working order, that we have buses that can function properly. And, you know, NYMTC plays a very important role in this for us, and together I think that our voice is much louder in making that pitch to the federal government.
Good morning. So similar to what County Executive Curran just mentioned, in Nassau County, Suffolk County is also embarking on a number of different initiatives. For us, primarily, we're still working on the Nichols Road corridor. As most of you know, that is a 15-mile long corridor in kind of central Suffolk County. And it's a focus for us because it's a county road, and so we've been looking at a bus rapid transit option that connects the three branches of the railroad that operate out that far. So connecting Stony Brook University and Suffolk Community College, also linking into the Ronkonkoma Railroad Station and development that's going on at the Ronkonkoma Hub. And the line would actually terminate on the south in Patchogue. So we are continuing with preliminary engineering and environmental analysis for that corridor. The actual, the main portion of the corridor will actually is now, we're leaning towards a BRT/HOV lane. So as we've stepped through the environmental analysis, kind of taking in to consideration the traffic impacts that this corridor would bring, we've now moved towards a more shared mode implementation. So that work is progressing. I'm also happy to report that at the Ronkonkoma Hub, we are just starting to see the first sets of folks moving into that development. So that will be key for, again, activating the demand for a mass transit option on the corridor. And so we expect preliminary engineering to conclude over the next year. We'll then continue with final design and construction, hopefully in the early 2020s for opening of the line. We are also embarking on preliminary engineering for another of our corridors, Route 110. So that PE will be progressing over the next year or so. And then, again, similar to County Exec Curran, we are looking to also revitalize and refresh our bus fleet. So we have new purchases coming up for both the paratransit side and fixed route, also shelters, and an upgrade of the AVL system that we have that allows our customers to, in real time, be able to find our buses. So, we have that in conjunction with that highway improvements as well. So, we definitely appreciate the leadership and the support that we've gotten from NYMTC, to keep these vital programs, going for us in order to, allow for our transportation network to keep us competitive and keep us connected to all of the different neighborhoods and also allow us to make improvements in a sustainable fashion.
Hi, thank you. I wanted to start by kind of reiterating what we've heard already from others on the dais here, and that's that without NYMTC and the federal dollars that flow to us from our federal partners, MTA could never move the 8 million people a day that we move somewhat reliably on a daily basis. If you read the press recently, we have made some improvements. For the first time this year in the last 8 years, our on-time performance is over 80%. It's been improving every month. And delays are down 45% since last year. So we're seeing better operations, we're seeing better reliability, providing better service to our customers. And that's been the result of a lot of small things. It's been attention to detail in our aging infrastructure, cleaning, but it's also cleaning drains, addressing older signals and power, and getting our stations back in order. And that's stuff we need to do and we continue to do. But for the big projects that are really transformative, that improve enhance either our service and extend our service to throughout the region, we really depend on federal funding for those types of projects. We have a number that are ongoing now. We're continuing to construct East Side Access, which will bring Long Island Railroad service to Grand Central Terminal. That'll be completed in a number of years. We're now commencing work on Penn Station Access, which will bring Metro North trains into Penn Station and also provide 4 new stations in the Bronx, which will bring rail service to an area that really is a transit desert where there's very poor rail service now. And what we're seeing in our forecast is that service will bring people into Manhattan, but also the larger market is actually taking people from the Bronx and taking them out to points north in Connecticut and outside the city. And also the medical facilities in the Bronx. So it'll be really, I think, transformative to that part of the Bronx as well as citywide. Second Avenue Subway is ongoing. Phase 1 is open, doing very well. Since Phase 1 opened on the east side, we found that crowding is way down on the Lexington Avenue line. We're actually meeting guideline loads now, which we weren't in the past. So if you take that service, it's both more reliable and more comfortable, although not completely comfortable. We are hopeful that Second Avenue will continue. I think we have all received some tweets recently, which would indicate that maybe there is some support in Washington for getting it done. So I think that's all good news. So really, we just plan to continue. We're on our capital program. We're developing the newest program now, which is due this fall for some initial review by the MTA board, and then probably adoption, I would guess, probably early next year. But again, all of this is done with a lot of help from the federal government, a lot of federal dollars that support our work. And we thank NYMTC and everyone here for for helping us. Thanks.
I was just saying I don't want to put our friends at the federal government or our friends from New Jersey on the spot, but if you want to say anything, please.
I didn't prepare any remarks, but I just want to express my organization's commitment to working closely with NYMTC as we have in the past. Our collaborative efforts have really, I think, resulted in some good projects that we've shared, especially around the topics of anything that's Trans-Hudson, as well as some of the broader policy issues like equity and data sharing, safety, and technology deployment. So happy to be here, and thank you for your support.
Just echoing the same sentiment that NJTP provided, the Port Authority has observed record growth and activity on all our facilities, and we continue to see NYMTC as a vital forum for coordination for future investments to support the growth and activity at our facilities. So just want to thank the NYMTC Council and all the members.
And I'll say that again from the NJT perspective. Certainly worked with NYMTC on some specific projects like Hudson Tunnel, so appreciate some of the technical activities associated with that. Working on the demographic and forecasting work, very critical to our Trans-Hudson system. At NJT, we carry about 90% of the daily rail riders under the Hudson River and about half of the daily bus riders into Manhattan. So multi-modal issues are very important to us across those lines. Looking at things like service for our friends from Rockland County as part of the overall improvement of the Trans-Hudson rail system. I could go on, but we do appreciate the opportunity to participate, to engage on a technical level as well as more of a strategic level as we try to advance some of these very important projects.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that the FTA is a proud federal partner with the folks here in the room, and a lot of the projects we're talking about here and that will be in the TIP, the federal government, the FTA will be providing a lot of federal support for that. Last year alone, we gave about $4.5 billion to the region, which basically amounted for about a third of the entire FTA's budget. Although this grant season is not over yet, we're already over the $3 billion mark, and the number is still going up because we have a couple more weeks here. But really just wanted to emphasize that we are proud partners and look to provide continued support to the region.
So I guess I'd just like to echo a number of the comments made about the partnership. Really appreciate working with NYMTC and the transportation agencies and moving projects. Sure, we do a lot of approval actions and ensure all the requirements are met, but I hope that what we bring is technical assistance as well and innovations, and that's what I'd like to emphasize. Thank you.
Echoing my other federal partners, we are proud and appreciate the opportunity to work with NYMTC and partner agencies on air quality improvements. Over the years, the air quality, there's been a number of air quality gains. We look forward to continuing to work with NYMTC and the partners to maintain those gains and to face some of the remaining challenges, like attaining the ozone standard and addressing air quality concerns in port communities, and also to take advantage of opportunities to deploy green transportation technologies.
So I heard a couple of themes in here which to really kind of resonate. I mean, there's a lot of attractive, innovative initiatives being done by our members, and I think that's wonderful. But the two things I heard over and over again were access, we're doing something for a reason, and partnership. And when you look at the TIP that's going to be adopted today, hopefully, It really is basically a 50-50 partnership. Federal aid accounts for about 50% of the TIP that's being adopted, and then the local and state match makes up the remaining resources to deliver the planned program projects over the period. And it's not about just roads and bridges. I mean, you know, you look at what's going on in this region, you know, I'm looking at broader state investment, not state DOT, but just in general. You've got the redevelopment of JFK and LaGuardia Airport going on. Well, that actually is, we want to make sure people can get there. So you've got the Van Wyck project that's going on. In terms of moving freight and enhancing safety, the state's going to be embarking on the Bruckner Expressway interchange reconstruction. Elevating the Nassau Expressway to ensure that there's access and egress in terms of emergencies, because it's an area that is continually subject to extreme weather events. And the examples, I could list literally hundreds of examples in this region. Hudson Link, creating new enhanced bus service between Rockland County, Westchester County, all providing access for the region. And as I mentioned, it is a partnership. And when I say this, it's not meant to be a political statement, but we are at the end of the federal authorization. A lot of the funds that we are planning on actually will not materialize unless Congress takes an action. And we do need enactment of a new surface transportation bill. And it's very important for, you know, continued development of our ports, our airports, our transit systems, that not only do we have a timely reauthorization, but we have a longer-term reauthorization and one that provides significant resources so that we can deliver on the planned program projects that we're discussing today and that are included in the TIP. The one thing that we can't have is what we had 10 years ago when we went, basically 10 years without a surface transportation bill, is a series of continuing resolutions, because that will basically kill the growth in the region, because we won't be able to execute projects on a timely basis because we won't know whether or not there will be timely federal aid. So it's not a criticism. It is an observation that I raise so that everybody in the region understand that what happens in Washington with respect to surface transportation bill is extraordinarily important to this region. You heard the FTA regional administrator talk about how much FTA money goes to this region. We are the largest region in terms of FTA assistance. It is crucial. We get $1.7 billion annually from the Federal Highway Administration statewide. It is essentially, you know, 40% of all the highway and bridge funds that are in the state capital plan. So we really need to be aware, understand what happens in Congress, and actually advocate for, to the greatest extent, educate members of the significance to what you do and how it impacts your communities. So I apologize for that rant, but I do think it's an important point because, you know, it's not just taking an action to enact a TIP, to adopt a TIP. There are other things that have to come down the pike that will help support the projects that people are discussing. So thank you for humoring me. So we're going to do the public participation process next, and as far as I know, we only have one registered speaker, and there's I think we got a comment by email, or there's yes, oh, second speaker too. So we have two speakers, and also we have an email, I believe it is, with a comment. So we'll ask Jerry to acknowledge who that comment person is, and we will make those remarks available to the council members. So the first individual, Murray, good to see you. Murray Bowden.
I'm Murray Bowden. This isn't on. Is this on? Yes. I've been around here much too long. Many of you know me from years and years ago. My mind works differently than most of you. I see things differently. I analyze things differently. Virtually, I can't read. I can hear already. I do very well on a cell phone reading because it's a very short piece I don't get lost. I say things very, very differently than you do, and I come up with an analysis. Safety is one of the things you talk about the most, and yet New York City DOT and New York State DOT completely ignores the rules in the manual and uniform traffic control devices. That was made uniform so people would understand what the road lines were about. In your records, Polly, in your records, and Ron, in your records, I've indicated where you have made errors that are completely illegal, and you refuse to correct them. They've created a culture of, we know better, but you don't. Federal Transportation, FTA, we have railroad crossings with both red flashing lights and traffic lights. On the Willis Avenue Bridge, you have gates and traffic lights. Why do you have both at the same exits? Because you can't stop you. You talk about safety. What you do when you lie to the driver, I use the word lie because Larry Schwartz used it at an MTA meeting a couple of months ago. I watched the tape, and he called somebody, that's a lie. What you're doing is a lie. You are not protecting the driver. At the Kosciuszko Bridge, you have new signs up there, the guide signs with the arrows point up. 1 arrow per lane. That's clear to the driver. The down arrows were proposed 50 years ago when the speeds were half they what they are now. You can't stop. You have diagrammatic signs with little bitty lines in between them. I can't read them, neither can anybody else. I'm 86, my body is failing. I can't turn around to look behind me and they say, well, turn around and check the road before you make your turn. But I can't do that, and neither can other people my age. One of your local people said, well, the rule book says turn around and look. We can't. You got cameras. Well, my new car has cameras all over. I look on a dashboard and I see who's behind me. Until you change the driver's manual and say turning around, you're kidding yourself. When we make a turn, we can't turn. We're scared. Your responsibility is to follow up on this. My job is to provide information. I can't follow up. You can. Polly, I've worked with your lawyer who knows how to change the manual because Susan told me in her office they know how to correct things and make them logical. Your chief engineer, Roger, knows exactly how to put crosswalks in, but he won't paint out the old ones because, well, they'll wear out. You want to talk about safety? People my age can't stop driving because we don't want to be alone. Help us. Give us a yellow line where the ramp starts. Don't use something that was invented 50 years ago before there were yellow lines. Robert Moses made a lot of mistakes, a lot of them. Called parkways are ribbon parks. They're not ribbon parks, they're arterials. We don't need to see traffic going in other directions anymore. Stop cutting the grass in the middle. We don't need those lights shining in our eyes anymore. This is probably the last time I'll have an opportunity to talk to you all. I got to walk around with a stick all the time because I tend to fall down. I make friends to help me get up because I can't get up myself anymore. I wear a watch that has its own telephone line so the kids can find me when I get lost. If you think I like this, I do not. It's my grandchildren's responsibility to take this over. Some of you have been here too long. I'm shaking, my legs are shaking. I want to thank all of those people who have helped me learn, because I could not have done this by myself. All kinds of people have given me information. My job was to put it all together and could be able to say this today. It's probably the last time I'll be able to do it like this. Thank all those people, and you know who you are, who helped me over the years. I appreciate it, and maybe we'll leave a safer place for my grandchildren and your grandchildren. Thank you.
Thank you, Murray. Mr. Gelman?
Just one. I've had the opportunity to speak individually with the county executive, the commissioner, the director, and the county executive, but I'm pleased to actually address the whole panel. My name is David Gelman, and I'm a member of Community Board 8 on the upper west side of New York City, representing Riverdale. I'm a member of its land use, parks, and transportation committees, as well as its budget chair, though I come today as its closest resident to the Scenic Highway award-winning Henry Hudson Bridge in the context of Governor Andrew Cuomo's Empire Trail and Vision Zero safety. For generations, the bridge shared its spans from Manhattan to the Bronx for automobiles and pedestrians on both the upper and lower levels, providing spectacular views of the Hudson to the west, as well as Inwood Hill Park and Columbia's Baker Field to the south and east. About a decade ago, at MTA's last major bridge renovation, they closed off the pedestrian path on the upper level, ostensibly to prevent us from walking through the employee parking lot in a post-9/11 world. Now, with cashless tolling, there are no employees, nor their vehicles in the lot anymore. The latest renovation entails dramatic structural work, and so they've closed off the only remaining pedestrian access over the bridge on the lower level, severely limiting our bridge path access to once-an-hour shuttle vans. I come to you requesting that state and city DOT use your public roles to prevail upon MTA bridges to reopen the pedestrian path on the upper level of the bridge now and permanently. I've discussed this matter with their engineers who advised, logically, anything can be done. It's just a matter of time, money, and MTA priorities. I acknowledge that reopening the upper path will cost tens of thousands of dollars for a few dozen Jersey barriers, which I know MTA has hundreds of them sitting underneath the RFK Triborough Bridge. The current project is budgeted for $87 million, and MTA's own projections are for 22 million cars, providing $92 million in revenues annually. The vast majority of these cars are not from Riverdale and the Bronx, but we suffer all the traffic, noise, pollution, heat, etc. that they produce. Frankly, on a cost versus community benefit basis alone, this is a no-brainer. Reopening the upper path will improve the quality of life for suffering Riverdale residents, reopening recreational and pedestrian park access. It will vastly expand the bicycling options for Riverdale residents for the safe 20-plus miles of paths around Manhattan. And it will expand healthy, non-polluting commuting options. But wait, there's more. It will create a safe off-street link to Manhattan for Governor Andrew Cuomo's Empire Trail, as opposed to the unsafe, spiky Broadway Bridge, which you may be familiar with. Oh, and did I mention that it will actually save hundreds of thousands of dollars? I think Andy would like to know that MTA is saving money. This would be accomplished by eliminating the need for the expensive $20,000 a month van service. New Yorkers are often confronted with bureaucracies that respond with, essentially, we don't gotta, we ain't gonna. I won't take more of your meeting time to go through the details, though I'd be glad to do so with your designated representative, as long as you give them the charge. It sounds doable. Figure it out. To paraphrase the MTA Bridges' Robert F. Kennedy, I dream things that should be and say, why not? Frankly, this ain't rocket science. In the words of Daniel Whitney, better known as Larry the Cable Guy of the Blue Collar Comedy Tour, get her done. Of course, my estimates may be low, but even if I'm underestimating the cost by 100%, this is a valuable amenity that will serve the communities that suffer the most of the downsides of the Henry Hudson Bridge and Parkway for generations to come, and should be done on the quality of life merits alone. Oh, and you can point out to the governor how you are actively pursuing cost reductions in MTA capital projects. The sooner they do, the more New Yorkers will save. For Pete's sake, get her done. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Jerry, could I just ask you to read the name and the subject matter of the comment that was submitted electronically?
So this is Michael Burns. He's a Connecticut resident who's participating via the webcast today. He did send a statement. A quick summary is that he feels it's a mistake that the NYMTC proposal for the Danbury to Southeast Passenger Rail Planning Study won't consider operation of through trains from Danbury to New York by way of Southeast. So that's, in a nutshell, what he's saying, and we'll make that available to everyone.
Thank you. And I want to thank everybody for their public comments today. Moving on to the next action item on the agenda is acceptance of the March 6th, 2019 meeting synopsis. So basically, it should all be in your packages. So what I'd like to do now is ask for if anybody has any comments or corrections on the document. Hearing none, I will ask for a motion to approve. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? The motion passes. Thank you. The next action item is the adoption resolution 2019-3, which is the adoption of the 2020 to 2024 Transportation Improvement Program. Angelina Foster will walk us through the resolution.
Good morning, council, participants. My name is Angelina Foster, and I'm the program manager for the Transportation Improvement Program at NYMTC. Today, before I ask for the resolution from the council, I'd like to do a quick presentation on our TIP development and how we got here. Maybe not. Okay. First of all, I'd like to give a little background about NYMTC and who we are. NYMTC is the Metropolitan Planning Organization, which is a requirement of U.S.C. in order to receive transportation federal funding. We cover a 10-county area that you see represented in this slide. And it is broken down, basically, our council by what we call Transportation Coordinating Committees, or TCCs, that are geographically based for the Lower Hudson Valley, which is the Mid-Hudson South TCC, for the City of New York and its 5 counties, which we refer to as New York City TCC, and the Nassau-Suffolk TCC, which represents our Long Island portion of our region. Within each of the TCCs, we have varied membership that includes all of the voting members of the council as well as the advisory members. I'm having more than a little technical difficulty here. Okay. We have our 3 counties in the north, represented by Putnam, Rockland, and Westchester counties. New York City, which is represented by New York City Department of Transportation, as well as the New York City Department of City Planning. We have in our Long Island area both Nassau and Suffolk County, as well as the Thruway Authority in the north, the Port Authority, which is a non-voting member, but is also represented in both the Mid-Hudson area with Stewart Airport, as well as in the city TCC with all of their facilities, the airports, as well as the bus terminals. Along our development, we have had public meetings throughout our TCC area. Those public meetings were conducted during the month of August on the 20th through the 22nd. We have had a public review of our document for 30 days, which started July 23rd, but was extended through our TCC public meetings. Last week, on September 27th, we were able to bring our document forward to our Program Finance and Advisory Committee, who did recommend that it be brought to the council for adoption. Our TIP represents approximately $21.6 billion of transportation investment, and as noted earlier by Commissioner Epstein, the breakdown for that TIP is about 50-50 between state funds and federal funds. Okay, so those are the members. This process is a part of the bigger NYMTC planning process, and as you can see in this graphic, it includes our various products that are required by federal regulation, and the TIP really is our midterm document. It's where projects are defined, and it is the enabling document in order to receive transportation funding, federal transportation funding. Okay, this is not my day with the clicker. But to wrap it up, what we have progressed to is today asking our council to adopt this transportation improvement program. And this program, as I noted, has been publicly reviewed. During that public review, we received several comments across the region. They have all been responded to and are a part of the document that if you came in through our front table, you may have received on a flash drive. So you can see the full document on that drive as well as its conformity determination. So without further ado and in closure, I'm going to now ask for the council adoption.
So I would ask, sorry about that. I would ask, I would make a motion to adopt this resolution.
Yes.
Any comments or questions from the council members? With that, I will call the question. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Angelina.
Thank you.
So I'm going to turn this next one over to County Executive Odell.
Thank you. What we're introducing today is something that speaks to the word partnership that's been mentioned so many times today. This is Resolution 2019-5. It's an amendment to the state fiscal year 2019-2020 Unified Planning Work Program. This is a very important initiative program. It's important to the region, as we have talked for years about regional planning. And we've talked about the responsibility of safe service and service in general from the millennial generation through the seniors. The partnership part of this involves the state of Connecticut, most directly the city of Danbury, and with us here today is the city mayor, Mark Boughton, who will speak to this and the importance of this project, where the County of Putnam and the MTA, Metro North Railroad, are jointly requesting to add a new study, and that would be the Southeast New York to Danbury, Connecticut Link Feasibility Planning Study to the UPWP. The study intends to determine whether it is financially and operationally feasible to restore passenger rail service to the 13.5-mile section of the Beacon Line between Danbury, Connecticut and Southeast New York, where it connects to the Harlem Line. And there's several opportunities to achieve very important goals here. One is to reduce some traffic congestion in the 84-684 corridor, and it's also an opportunity for us to do our part for climate smart initiatives. And so at this time, I'd ask if His Honor the Mayor would join us for public comment.
Good morning, and thank you very much. My name is Mark Boughton. I'm mayor of the city of Danbury, Connecticut. It's great to be here. I rarely get to travel out of my 44 square miles, so coming to New York City is really cool. So thanks for having us. This is really, as already been stated a couple of times, this is really everything that epitomizes partnership. I can't think in recent times of a partnership where a county and a city from across state lines got together and said, we're going to match up our resources and infrastructure in a variety of different ways. This is one piece of our larger global initiative to partner on projects, but this is a critically important piece as it relates to transportation in the region. As mentioned already earlier, we want to get people up off of 84 and the 684 corridor. I suspect when this study has been completed, if it's the council's pleasure to go forward with it, you'll see that this will be viable because we basically anecdotally know that there are literally thousands of cars that travel in the morning and the evening. And if you've ever traveled up the 684 corridor and tried to get into Connecticut at around 4:30, you'll understand the amount of traffic that is in that area, and then on exit 2, 1 through 5 on the Connecticut side. It's important for us in my city because of our TOD study that we funded about 3 years ago. This will enhance our downtown and allow us to be able to bring in more parking spaces for people. The Southeast Station is frankly running out of parking. About 50% of the people that arrive there are from Connecticut. So now this is another way that we can encourage people to get off the road, come to someplace closer, and get on the train and head into New York City. So this is a true win-win-win for everybody. I know that's such a trite term, but it's so true, and it's just a tiny step going forward, but we think it's a valuable step to be able to plan a regional way of working and cooperating together. So thank you very much, and again, we just appreciate the cooperation from NYMTC. It's been an exciting process to work with you all and see how things get done, and definitely out of my lane. I will tell you that in Connecticut, we have 169 silos of towns and cities that don't talk to each other, that don't work together, and Mary Ellen and I are trying to break that mold and have us work together like no other community has across state lines. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, County Executive. Any comments or questions on this resolution? So with that, I will call the question. All in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries.
Thanks. I'm going to read, I think, the final resolution. Is Jose Rivera here? Oh, wait. Oh, did we miss one, Jerry? Oh. Oops. Oh, conformity. All right, Ron, I'm handing it back to you. Jump the gun on me.
I didn't want to say anything. I wanted to get mine over with.
Yeah, I guess there is that small little thing of conformity. The feds didn't notice, did they? Sorry about that. I'd spilled some water, so the page stuck together. So I apologize for that. So we are going to hear about Resolution 2019-4, which is adoption of a conformity determination for the fiscal year 2020 through 2024 Transportation Improvement Program and for the 2018 to 2045 Regional Transportation Plan as amended. That's a title for you. I'm going to ask Deborah Nelson to introduce this resolution.
Thank you. As you said, Resolution 2019-4 is to address conformity. The New York metropolitan area is considered non-attainment by the Clean Air Act amendments of 1990. As such, NYMTC must complete a regional emissions analysis for mobile sources for various pollutants each time that we adopt a TIP and a plan. And as we've just adopted the 2020-2024 TIP, we have completed the regional emissions analysis that demonstrates that those transportation improvements in that TIP, and as well as the fiscally constrained element of the regional transportation plan as amended, have met all applicable mobile source emission tests for pollutants and analysis years as specified by the New York State Implementation Plan for Air Quality, known as the STIP, and therefore conforms to the mobile source emissions milestones set forth in that STIP. This transportation conformity determination has been publicly reviewed along with the TIP, and all comments received have been addressed and incorporated in this documentation. Therefore, I ask that the New York Metropolitan Transportation Council adopt the Transportation Conformity Determination for federal fiscal years 2020 to 2024 TIP and the federal fiscal years 2018 to 2045 Regional Transportation Plan, as amended, to demonstrate conformity of the mobile source emissions milestones set forth in that SIP.
So before we call the motion, any discussion on the motion? Any discussion on the, I should say, the resolution? Hearing none. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. Back to the last, and I think I'm going to get up for this, and I hope everyone will forgive me. I'm moving a little slowly because I've had surgery on my feet this summer. But Jose, will you come up? All right, well, I have the honor of reading a resolution that we're going to call on the board to approve. Recognition of service presented to Jose M. Rivera. Whereas Mr. Jose Rivera joined the New York State Department of Transportation in 1987, and whereas he's had a long and distinguished career in transportation, whereas Mr. Rivera served as Executive Director to NYMTC Transportation Council from 2016 to 2019, and whereas in that role, Mr. Rivera provided broad perspective, valuable guidance, and leadership to his staff and to the representatives of the council. Whereas Mr. Rivera is now retired after 32 distinguished years of state service, effective May 30th, 2019. I'm going to throw one in, and whereas the city family also wants to particularly thank him for his terrific work, let it be resolved that the New York Metropolitan Transportation Council formally expresses its gratitude and appreciation to Jose Rivera for his professionalism, dedication, and leadership to the NYMTC region and to New York State. I now just have to ask the board to formally adopt this resolution. I presume we will have unanimous support, so all those in favor say aye. Aye. And again, Jose, thank you so much for your great service. I think we were hoping perhaps you would say a few words.
Sure.
All right, terrific. Well, and I will hobble back to my seat.
This is very flattering to be recognized by the council. It's obviously a very challenging MPO that we have here, probably the most challenging in the nation, arguably the most critical in the whole nation. You know, you've listened to the council members talked about how critical these programs and projects are, not just to this city, but really the entire country. For me, it was an honor and a pleasure to serve as the 8th Executive Director to NYMTC. And again, I'm very flattered and very honored, and thank you for the recognition.
You know, for those of you who don't know, in addition to Jose being a solid individual and an outstanding public servant, he's also a medical marvel. Somehow between the time he left and now, his hair went from gray to black. I don't know how that happens. Thank you for everything you've done. With that, I'll open this up to the board. Any new business that any of the members want to bring forward? Hearing none, please know that we are scheduling the next meeting tentatively to be held on a nice, sunny, balmy day in February 27th, 2020. The location will be determined. And now probably for the most difficult part of the business, motion to dismiss. All those in favor? Anybody opposed? We are dismissed. Thank you, everybody, for your contributions.